Syracuse won!
They are our alma mater.
Yes.
Alma mater. That's where we went to college, guys. Syracuse University just beat Michigan State University in the top 16 March Madness motherfucking tournament, guys. How hype am I? Probably like a 5. I wonder how hype Ivan is.
I'm a 10!
Woo!
I can't believe it!
No, that's a huge win for them, definitely. And welcome to the Hungover podcast, because for the week of March 19th, 2018. Hope you guys are having a good week out there. This podcast comes out every single week on Monday at 9 a.m. You can find it on SoundCloud, iTunes, and now a special podcast service called Google Play Music. You can go ahead and find us there for all you Android users or people who just want to use Google Play for their music. You can also find our podcast there. I hope you guys are enjoying it. And you can, of course, also find it in video form on YouTube. And, you know, Ivan, we don't just upload YouTube videos of our podcast. We upload 2 other types of videos. Our Wednesday video that comes out on 9 a.m. is usually an Overwatch themed video where we, you know, recap the week in Overwatch or just take you through a game and maybe give you some tips and tricks to become a better Overwatch player. And on Fridays, we have a Let's Play series that is a little... we haven't uploaded one in 2 weeks, but we try to get them out every week. They're a little more heavily edited, so if you guys want to check those out, go ahead and check out our YouTube channel, Hungover Gaming.
Guess
Ivan,
what? When you have more obligations at work than you thought you would, it's harder to get the videos out, especially when you're not getting paid to put out those videos.
These videos, so it
it's
really helps.
Labor of love.
At least give us a vanity number and subscribe to our channel. You don't have to give us any money, but you know, just subscribe to our channel, please. Oh God. We start our podcast out every single week by asking each other, what media have you been consuming and what did you drink last night, Ivan?
Hey yo! So last night, here's the thing.
Was St. Patrick's Day. Here is the thing.
Yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. I wore green. I went to the parade. It was great.
Both of us have green sheets behind us, but you can't see them. That sucks.
No. Well, you might be able to see mine depending on how well the program works to key it out. So didn't drink at the Irish parade.
Yeah, there's a large one in Syracuse, I assume.
It's fairly big. It's not Buffalo size, but it's pretty big.
It's certainly not Boston size or Chicago size, I'm guessing.
No. Laura told me a story as she was taking a commuter train into Boston once, and there were a bunch of drunk people, and she all of a sudden hears chug, chug, and she turns, and there are 2 women just chugging PBRs.
What?
And then they're like, God, flash them! And then they just flash their tits.
The most Irish of beers, PBR. What time of day was this?
The middle of.
Okay, I mean, at least I hope it was afternoon. But I tell you, one St. Patrick's Day must have been like a Wednesday that year or something like that. So a couple years ago, I was in the train, I think at 8 a.m. or 8:30. I was going to work, and I saw people coming in from Long Island. They smelled like alcohol. It was crazy. I'm like, what are you doing? You're an adult. You are an adult. Stop. You need to stop.
Yo, Sundays on the LIRR it's madness.
Yes.
There's this bouncy ball. Sorry, if you hear noise in the background, I think there's a squirrel above me and or in my wall.
In your wall. Oh, God. Fine. It's fine.
It's an old house. There are lots of openings, and apparently our landlord can't deal with it. But in any case, this barn place where every very classy person.
Oh yeah.
Goes to get drunk and then gets on the train and they like fall over themselves or vomit, and they're perfect to have on your train car with you.
Oh
and you
man.
can tell who they are by all of the smiley face stickers that they get put on them. It's great. It's perfect.
Nice.
Anyway, didn't drink anything at the St. Patrick's Day parade. Later had a rum and coke because
It's clearly very Irish as well.
I've made a deal with myself where for a little while I'm not buying more alcohol for the home.
Fair enough.
But I have a ton of alcohol
Good
here.
way to save money.
So the main thing is that I don't buy a lot of mixers. So I have like cacao vodka, but nothing to mix it with. Unless I want to make hot chocolate. And I'm
in
too
a
lazy
similar
to do that.
problem. I have a bunch of gin, but that's it. And you can't really just drink gin.
You could buy the tonic water syrup for your soda stream.
Oh, do they make a tonic water syrup?
They make a tonic and a diet tonic.
Huh. What about a diatomic syrup?
No, but a triatomic, okay. Yes.
Anyways, that's what you've been doing? That's what you drank, a rum and coke. What if you and you watched the Syracuse game, of course? Come on.
Yes, there were 3 Syracuse games this week that I checked out. The play-in game against Arizona ASU, I guess, Arizona State University. And then the first round against TCU and the second round against Michigan State, which delayed us recording this podcast because it started at 2:55 and it ended at like 5:20.
That's crazy for a fucking basketball game, a college basketball game.
It's
that
2 halves of 20 minutes and then
they're
a
20.
halftime.
I thought they were 30 minutes.
No, they're 20-minute halves. So that's what happens.
Crazy. Are any of the games going to be played at SU?
No. So, not this year. They're playing in the Little Caesars Arena, which is in Dayton, Ohio right now.
All the teams are there.
No, it's based on region.
Okay, right. Okay, so all the teams in the Big East, whatever region they're in, whatever conference they're in, are playing up there.
It's weird. No, that would logically make sense, but that's not the NCAA.
Julien, you know nothing about sports.
So the NCAA tournament bracket has like 4 quadrants based on the location you'll be playing in, but not based on where you're coming from, I think. So like there are different seedings for each of the quadrants.
Yes.
And you have a play-in game for each of the sides, and it's complexity on complexity. So they're playing in like Dayton, Ohio. There are games that are going to be in LA, and there are various places around the country, but there are like 3 or 4 like teams that will be playing in this one arena for a little while, and then they go to a different place. But there shouldn't really be a team that plays at their home court, really. There's sometimes it just happens to be like UNC will be playing in Carolina.
Okay.
But that's just happenstance. Anyway, I've been watching a lot of NCAA tournament, which is exciting. I hate college basketball, but there's something exciting about the tournament.
No, it's a single elimination tournament, which makes it kind of crazy. They have to put all their best players in. You know, they gotta win the game, and anything can happen. That's why it's crazy and fun to watch, because almost anyone could win.
Yeah.
Right? There's a team I think I saw last night at a bar, Denton Hall. I don't know.
Seton Hall.
Seton Hall, that was it. I've never heard of this school, but apparently they're pretty good. Obviously, they made it into the
We used to be in the same conference as Seton Hall.
All right, yeah. I mean, I've just never heard of this school, so that's crazy to me. It's usually, you know, you hear the schools if you live in America that are good at basketball, not necessarily the best with their education, but who knows. Typically, though, the schools that have a good basketball team generally have a pretty decent education system going on.
Yeah, a lot of them are big state schools.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of funding and stuff. I mean, Syracuse is a pretty good academic school.
Of course,
we have a pretty good
I mean,
basketball team.
we both went there. I mean,
obviously it reflects.
Yeah.
I don't know in which way, but yes, it reflects.
Something's reflected now.
And historic note for this NCAA tournament, for the first time in the history of the tournament, a 16 seed beat a 1 seed.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Not only a 1 seed, but the number 1 overall seed. So University of Maryland, UMBC, Baltimore County, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Virginia, which was the number 1 overall rated team in the tournament. And
is that where Michael Jordan went? No, he went to UNC, right?
Michael Jordan went to UNC.
Okay,
yeah.
Never mind.
So it's a ridiculous thing. Anyway, besides that, I caught 2 movies this week in theaters.
Nice.
I caught Gringo.
Okay.
And Gringo was bad. Don't see it.
Who's in that movie?
So many people. So Charlize Theron, Joel Edgerton, David Oyelowo, Charlton Copley, Amanda Seyfried, Alan Ruck.
A great cast, to say the least.
It's got like a whole bunch of people and a whole bunch of like, hey, I know that guy people too. It's a very bad movie. The script is bad. It's very slow.
Mm-hmm.
David Oyelowo is a really funny character actor, and Charlize Theron is doing
a great actor.
Her best, bitchy office like CEO type person impression.
That's interesting.
And it's pretty good. Like, it's not a usual Charlize Theron role.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But all of it is kind of bad. There's not enough David Oyelowo being funny scenes. Like, he's really funny in the scenes that he's in, but there aren't enough of his scenes. There are a lot of scenes. There's so much preamble to the main action. It's like a 2-hour long movie where an hour of it is preamble. And then there's 30 minutes of good stuff and 30 minutes of filler. I really don't understand how this movie was written. It's directed by Nash Edgerton, who is Joel Edgerton's brother. Joel Edgerton was in things like Zero Dark 30, King Arthur, the Anton Fuqua one. He was in the Brothers movie where there's like 2 brothers who are martial arts MMA fighters and they go against each other. I forget
I think I know what you're talking about.
Movie's called.
I can't remember the name.
But he's a pretty good actor, but he's kind of lost in this movie. I think the whole thing is just kind of lost in bad.
Just poor writing.
Don't go see it. It's really not that interesting.
Okay. Damn.
I think it's not even worth it on a plane, to be honest.
Jeez. That is a Hungover gaming seal of disapproval.
Yeah. Jeez. It really, it's not a stream it. It's not even a plane movie.
Oh my
God. I guess if you really needed to, you could watch it on the bus.
You can watch it on a bus. You can
watch it on public transport, but don't watch it on a plane.
That sucks, man.
The other movie I saw was Black Panther. Because we said we'd see it this week.
Yeah, well, nice. I thought that would have been great if I saw it. Oh, well.
As per usual, Julien did his thing where he doesn't go to the movies.
Yep, that's my thing. Next week.
Yeah, so
I'll see it on Thursday.
I'll go very further into my review when we get down into our review of Black Panther, but I have to say I disagree with the majority opinion. Mm-hmm. I'm happy that it was an African-centric black cast being the lead in a movie. Capitalist endeavor.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like, we can make money off of an all-black cast. Cool. We've learned that.
And
that's
they've
awesome.
made quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think over $1 billion now.
Yeah, it's 1.1. So it's a very high-grossing film. Mm-hmm. I guess
there will be a sequel.
I guess I'm all for it. I'm just my real big criticism of the movie is I hate Marvel movies.
You hate them?
I've made the decision that the only good Marvel movies from now on are movies that are funny.
The funny ones? Oh, yeah, this one wasn't funny?
It had like 3 jokes.
Ah, dang. All right, well, I'll have to see it.
Yeah, I mean, go see it because it's like in the zeitgeist.
Yeah,
and it tries to bring up issues. I don't know if it would. I'm almost positive it's like a clash between what the director, who is also the co-writer of the script, and the other co-writer of the script wanted to do and what Marvel Studios was going to allow them to do, like what Disney was going to allow them to do. So it's definitely a clash. Like Mickey they pull Mouse. Away from the edge of really diving into social issues, and it's not even like you get some movies where it's like Booker T. Washington's philosophy of pull yourself up by the bootstraps versus W.B. Du Bois's philosophy of like we have to really examine the structural violence and the structure of things and go at it as much as possible. It kind of does that, but it doesn't walk close enough to what that argument looks like in the 21st century at all. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of issues with the film.
You wanted this to be more of a politically thriving movie, I guess.
Well, here's the thing. It wants to be that with its message, but it's not allowed to do that because it is a Disney property.
Disney, yeah.
So it like the guy who directed Black Panther is also the guy who directed Fruitvale Station, which is the story of an innocent guy who gets shot by cops. Mm-hmm. And it goes through his day up until the incident. So like a guy who's going to make a film that is so aggressive in a message, not in an aggressive way, but really I'm trying to find the word. It's not really aggressive, but it's like out there in terms of its message, right? It's stating what the purpose of the movie is with the subject matter. Okay. And then you take a look at Black Panther, and there's like so many mixed messages as to how they're going to portray and represent Africa, how they're going to talk about the issues of how Black people can lift themselves up in the world, in the global context. Some of the ideas of Pan-Africanism are a little bit mixed here. But at the same time, there's also complexities within it that, I mean, we can get into it much later. So, like, I don't, this isn't the spoiler review. We'll do the spoiler review when we have both seen it. We can get into it. And maybe somebody who hasn't studied Pan-Africanism as critically as I have can have a different...
Yeah, I wanted
to say, we can bounce off of each
for
other.
Context, for people, maybe you don't listen to this podcast and you're just joining in, Ivan is... very well versed in Pan-Africanism, and he studies this. He's getting a master's, or you don't have the master's yet, but you're on your way to it, of course.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a degree in this. You already have.
So I already have a international relations degree focused on Africa and minor in African American studies for my undergrad, plus a lot of 2.5 years of graduate work on Pan-African studies. So I am pretty well versed. I mean, I don't know the lived experience, but in terms of at the academic side, I have a lot of experience. So
yeah,
we'll get into it later. Julien, that was enough about what I did during my week. How about you?
What about me? Well, I love video games, so I always play a bunch of video games. You keep up with the movies, and I try to keep up with the video games.
This is the balance, because I really only want to play Overwatch.
I know, it's the only game worth playing. Of course, I played some of that. I played some of that with you, and I have 2 accounts. I can't believe it. Let's not talk about Overwatch. I actually played a match earlier today, and it was not fun.
No.
It was not my game. But of course, we'll play more later on. You can catch us streaming on twitch.tv/ComradeBoyar. or twitch.tv/jujubesgood.
I stream on Sundays. Yeah. Julien streams Tuesday,
Friday, and usually Saturday, but not this Saturday. But I also got the new Kirby game because my lovely girlfriend got me a gift card for Nintendo money for my birthday. And thank you very much, Nikki, if you're listening. You're probably not. Thank you for not listening. No. So I wanted to pick up a Kirby game. I haven't played a Kirby game in about 10 years, I think. I played the last one was on the Game Boy Advance, so it must have been over 10 years ago now. So I wanted to pick this one up. I really remember liking Kirby games, or at least the Kirby game I played on the Game Boy Advance. I got 100% of that game. And this game I actually like a lot. It's pretty fun. Basically it's a side-scrolling game, but Kirby games are known for being, childish in difficulty, and of course aesthetic as well. Because you can make a game for everyone, right? You can't just. It's not for the Dark Souls fan in me. All right. This game is not difficult by any means. You get a lot of life. You get a life, like an extra life, a 1-up life. In Mario, if you collect 100 coins, but if you collect 100 stars in this, and I have like 60 lives. So, and because I've died once, and that was because I was just walking forward and not paying attention. So let's be honest.
It's like that Overwatch game we were playing.
Yes, exactly. This game is very, very easy. That being said, it's still very fun. You basically get, and it's really cute. It's so cute. Oh my god. You basically get Kirby copies abilities, so he's very boring on his own, but he gets to suck up enemies and then copy their abilities, and then he becomes an interesting character. You can also befriend up to 3 other enemies, and they'll fight with your team, on your team, and then you can play up to 4-person multiplayer in that way. So that's pretty cool. I think it's a cool multiplayer game, although I've been playing it single player. The AI in the game is pretty straightforward. I mean, the characters that join up with you are going to attack everything, which is pretty cool. But they'll wait for you if you, let's say because you have to throw a heart at. This is ridiculous. You have to throw a heart at an enemy in order to befriend it, and it's very easy. You just throw it. But they can end up killing the enemy before you do that. So sometimes I've seen that happen. But there are the cool thing comes in that you can combine abilities. So there's like an ice guy, a fire guy, an electric guy. You can take your sword. Let's say you get the sword ability. And if you want to combine abilities, you can just combine, you just hold up on the joystick, and one of them will combine their ability into your sword. And so let's say you get like an ice sword or something, or a fire sword, or an electric sword. And that's just a basic thing. The one that I thought you would like is when you turn into the rock. There's the rock ability, in Smash Bros. You press down.
You drive fast?
You don't drive fast, but if you have an ice
save San Andreas in a helicopter.
Yes, that is what you do by throwing a curling rock outside of the helicopter.
It's a curling rock!
Yeah.
That's hilarious!
So if you have the ice guy and you have the rock ability and you hold up, the ice guy will kick you and you'll turn into a curling rock and you'll go forward on ice, and it's pretty funny. I thought you would like that. But
that's adorable. I do like that.
It's really cute, and there's some puzzles that can get a little difficult towards the end, and so basically you need to be constantly switching out your team and tailoring it to solve some puzzles, some environmental puzzles to get the collectible things in the game. So that's pretty cool. And I think it's a fun game to sort of zone out. It's so easy that you can just sort of like zone out and just kind of have fun. It's like a brawler almost. Arcade brawlers that would have a lot of Though it's pretty fun. I wouldn't. If you're really desperate for a new game, I would get this. I got it for essentially $10. I mean, I got my girlfriend gave me a money card. So that's why I got it. I can't say I suggest you get this game at full price. I don't think it's worth it because I hear it's kind of short. I haven't beaten it yet. So I wouldn't suggest full price. If it ever comes down to half price, I think it's absolutely worth it. But that's just my opinion. If you're a Kirby fan, if you love Kirby games, just get it. You know what you're getting into. So I played that, and then I played some Street Fighter V as well. I'm trying to get better as Sakura. Taking a break from Dragon Ball Fighters for no reason, just playing Street Fighter V. And I also played a bit of Bloodborne. And also, because it was St. Patrick's Day, I had a culturally insensitive drink that I won't name on the air, but it involves Guinness, Baileys, and Jameson, and chugging. Lots of chugging. I had one of those. And then I also just had a Guinness on tap. I went to this bar with my good buddy, and just for St. Patrick's Day, We always end up hanging out like once a year now because we both get busy, and he always remembers my birthday for whatever reason, and then he misses it. Like, I don't know, for some reason we miss out on hanging out on my birthday, and then we try to hang out the next week, but we're busy, and then we try to hang out, then we go it for some reason we end up hanging out on St. Patrick's Day like every year. By accident, complete accident. It's not like I care. I mean, sure, I love the Irish, but it's not like I'm going out to the bars specifically for St. Patrick's Day. But it always ends up that way. So we ended up going to an Irish pub to get some Guinness we were there at around 9:30 p.m. And for some reason, it was not. I was thinking, oh, this place is gonna be a wreck. The place is called White Horse Tavern. It's in the financial district by the South Ferry, the Staten Island Ferry, and it's a good bar.
No wonder you expected it to be a trash place.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice bar. I've been there before. They had a little buffet line for Irish food. You know, they had like steamed cabbage, corned beef. I don't know what else Irish people potatoes. I don't know. Is that racist? They eat potatoes. It's not like they don't eat potatoes.
It depends on whether there's a famine on or not.
Oh, God. But yeah, so they had the buffet. People were drunk, but it's not like it was crowded and loud. So I just enjoyed a Guinness at this bar. I got a seat at the bar, and I enjoyed a Guinness. And the Irish bartender lady, she was like a middle-aged woman, a little heavy set, and she was like very... she was not taking anyone's shit. She did not want to take any drunk people's shit today.
Dope.
She's like, if you got your attitude, you can get the fuck out. And it's so funny.
Julien, I need your Irish accent more.
The fuck out. Get out. Yeah,
why don't you make like a tree and get the fuck out?
Because there were a bunch of guys that were trying to order culturally insensitive drinks for their girlfriends and, of course, for them. And they ordered like... I think they had a line of, I think it was like 10 drinks, 10 Guinness, Jameson, and Bailey shot drinks.
Shoot.
It was a line of people doing them. It was a lot of money, too. I imagine. So, yeah, but this guy had a wad of cash, and he was like counting it. It's crazy. Anyways, that's what I did. That's what I drank. A lot of Guinness. It was a lot of fun. But then I just went home.
Solid.
Yeah. But Ivan, do you know what business is currently not very solid?
Do you know what? No.
Bitcoin?
Is it Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin currly not solid?
Let's talk.
Where's Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is decentralized. It's not anywhere. But maybe you could use Bitcoin to revive ToysRus and purchase the company for $0 because it's currently shutting down. This has reached the news, the local news. I saw it on the local news. My mom always has the news on when I visit her, so I saw it on there. But I mean, of course, I've been hearing rumors of ToysRus closing down throughout the years and throughout last year specifically. And so I think I don't think it's officially closed yet, but I think ToysRus is going to be shutting down within the next 6 months. So if you have
the next week, it might even shut those stores down. Yeah, it's happening very quickly.
Well, but they still have the stock online. So if you have any gift cards for ToysRus, which I believe
think it's the next 30 days.
You have 30 days to use them.
I saw a report for, yeah.
That money's going to go away, so I suggest you use it. Do you have any memories of ToysRus, I guess, to start off with?
I do. When I was a child... This is one of the most this is one of my largest life regrets. I was a child and we were poor. So here's the thing: my parents sometimes took us to Toys R Us, and I was young and stupid, So I would just be super happy playing in the aisles.
Hell yeah, Toys R Us.
My sister always took a toy home, but I would just be like, I'm good. I just played for an hour.
Did you go to the bike aisle and just ride the bikes up?
No, I usually played with not that. I would play with like action figures mostly.
Yeah. Me too.
But one time I got really upset. And I was in the Toys R Us, and my dad was like, okay, you can get one thing. You can either get this, and it was a Sonic racing car, one of the remote control cars, or you could get these blocks. And I'm like, I want the blocks. And to this day, I regret not getting the RC car.
God damn it, man. What's wrong with you?
I got the ABC blocks.
How old were you? Like fucking 5?
No, I wasn't even 5. I was below 5 because it was in New Jersey before we moved to Memphis.
Okay, fine.
So I was in pre-K, I think, at the oldest.
Poor choice of words. Man. Oh, well.
But still, you know what? Despite me regretting not choosing the RC car, those ABC blocks were important, and I'll tell you why. I would go on to have the largest collection of green little soldiers that any of my friends had, and I would set up many different battles in my living room. And the toy blocks made excellent building structures, just like the Jenga pieces.
Nice.
So I had a lot of pillboxes made out of Jenga and letters.
And that's why you're so good at Risk.
That is why I'm good at Risk. Plus, I got the sweet magic on my dice rolls.
Did you ever have the green soldiers with the parachutes?
I did, yeah. I got them at like Chuck E. Cheese or something.
Yeah, I always saw them.
They were the dumbest things, and the parachutes always got tangled. I always threw those away.
Yeah. Look, it was a good idea.
What I always recreated World War II battles, despite the fact that all of the vast majority of the soldiers that I had were like Vietnam War era toy soldiers. They were like M16s, but I'm like, no, shit. These are the Germans. They're the Allies. Germans.
That's so funny. It's just interesting to me that this company is going under, and well, it's been under for a while, but it's going. I think they declared bankruptcy like last year, but
in September they declared bankruptcy.
Yeah, they're completely going off the face of the earth. So this is a company that in New York City opened up a store in Times Square that literally had a Ferris wheel in it. Did you know this?
I didn't know that.
I mean, me being me and living in New York City, I knew this. And I went to it. It's a fun Ferris wheel. It's an indoor Ferris wheel.
There was another huge toy store in New York that closed.
FAO Schwartz.
Is FAO Schwartz done? Is it closed?
I think so, if I'm not mistaken. I have to
toy stores, man. We get Walmart now. Walmart and Amazon.
Yes, Walmart and Amazon. Yeah, so basically, it was founded. No, FAO Schwartz is a company. Sorry. Is still a company, I think. So a very old company, toy company. But wait, it's finally coming back to Midtown, according to the New York Post. FAO Schwartz is coming back.
Nice.
Next fall in a smaller space, but one definitely big enough to accommodate its iconic walking piano from Big, that movie with Tom Hanks. But yeah, so it's a sad day. I did remember, I have fond memories of Toys R Us. My dad would take me there. And rip, man. I don't buy toys anymore. Whatever. But it's interesting. We wanted to talk about this in the broader context of what's happening to big retail companies such as Toys R Us, which was pretty much the go-to place to buy toys, obviously, for your children. But now you can just order them on Amazon, and I don't even know what kids play with nowadays. Tide Pods, I guess, and you can buy that anywhere now, so it doesn't matter.
Tide Pods is really just a culling program. It's our version of the Hunger Games.
Oh my god. But I think they play with drones now. I see some of the kids on my block, they just got a drone. They're very excited. But I'll
I
tell
was
you,
in a
I've
fifth
got
grade
air rights.
classroom the other day, and half the
shoot
kids in there raised their hands whether they owned a drone or have played with a drone.
Damn. But look, I'm not saying I'm not going to get a drone. I'm just saying we need some sweet aerial shots, Yvonne, for our sweet videos.
Yes, we do.
Someone's got to take them. But yeah, so what, I mean, that's just Toys R Us, but there are a bunch of other stores that are at threat of extinction here. I mean, we apparently Abercrombie and Fitch. I mean, that place that makes the entire mall smell like perfume
Ass.
or whatever it is, or Abercrombie and Fitch is currently. They're going to be closing 60 U.S. stores throughout malls and making them smell just like the food court instead. So I'm happy about that. What do you take away from? And then American Apparel is officially closed. They went down a while ago. I think last year or 2 years ago. So they're gone. This is obviously just the fear of I mean, these were large companies to begin with, right? So it's not like we're getting rid of mom and pop shops, even though some of these companies are responsible for getting rid of a lot of mom and pop shops. But I mean, this is sort of how the American retail economy is going. We're seeing fewer and fewer companies selling the same things and competing. So there's going to be one company left eventually, I'm assuming. It's either Walmart or Amazon.
Yeah, it's really the Walmartification of everything.
Yeah, it's crazy that we're actually seeing it within our lifetime. I didn't think that I mean, I always heard my parents, complaining about this sort of stuff. But I didn't think that I would actively see a lot of companies shut down in my lifetime. That's crazy. I'll never go to buy expensive jeans again at American Apparel. How do you feel about the? I mean, obviously, I'm not saying Toys R Us specifically, but this sort of trend that we're seeing, just closing in. I don't think it's very good for our economy.
No, I think part of the thing that we have to really look at is like, all right, Toys R Us is one brand of thing, and it has gone down. It was a major thing. We've seen companies like Radio Shack. At Radio Shack's peak, it was 7,300 stores. They've shuttered down to 70 stores this year.
Radio Shack is... I actually just went to one last fall in order to get... I needed some connectors, actually, to make my... my fight stick. Yeah, which was, and it's such a useful store if you're trying to fix an electronic or things like that. But I suppose it is very niche, and they obviously don't get enough business, literally, obviously. But
we have companies from like Radio Shack, which is a niche store, getting the different things. We've got gun companies like Smith & Wesson just declared bankruptcy, I think.
Whoa.
We've got crazy. A bunch of different companies in general that are shrinking their store size, etc. I think what we have to look at there's a few different avenues, of how the stores are being assaulted from. One of the things is that internet sales are creeping into everything, and even the larger corporations that we thought could play with or withstand the force of companies like Amazon, like Walmart, like even an eBay, something that does a lot of business online. These mainstay companies that we have internet presence, have the ability to shop online, we don't see a lot of them continue to do business in the long run at the same level that they have. So they're shrinking their physical store presence. They might be expanding their internet sales, but really it's a balance that we're seeing companies still strike out. And especially, I mean, post 2008 was the worst year, or like 2008, 2009, for a lot of these companies.
The housing bubble as well.
Yeah, so the economic crash really led to like a knock-on effect throughout the economy. We're building up jobs, but they're not the same jobs, so people don't have as much to spend. Capital is being consolidated into the top percentage of people, so the ability of people to spend is different. And if we look at really what what happened to Toys R Us from the reports I read from like USA Today, Fox Business, a few other places, it was a combination of, so they declared bankruptcy in September, right before the holiday season. And one of the things that is like this soft presence in all of consumer like sales is consumer confidence in the company. Mm-hmm. So Toys R Us declares bankruptcy in September, which means that just before the holiday season, when people are going to buy gift cards or toys or all this sort of things, and Toys R Us, the CEO was like, we depend on having a lot of stock in physical locations, so when parents or people are looking for last minute gift ideas, they come into us when their online orders won't get in there in time and things like that. So it's that physical presence of having a large stock to be able to go into there. Now that requires vendors to be working with you, consumers to want to go to your store, etc. So the consumer confidence really shook the gift card market for this holiday season, and the knock-on effect of consumers not going and consumer confidence being shaken was that vendors who were selling their stock to Toys R Us had lower expectations of being able to get money back for the pre-sale. So they get the money on the back end of the majority of their deals. And so vendors were reluctant to deal business with Toys R Us. So it's that knock-on effect. Consumers weren't going, and those consumers who were going were being met with not as much stock as is usually available for Toys R Us, which was in trouble because a company that called like Bain Capital and others forced Toys R Us to go private a long time ago, which incurred a tremendous amount of debt for Toys R Us. And whereas they probably could have handled that debt with the like revenue they were gaining in like 2005 or 2006 when that happened, they were paying $400 million just to service those debts by the time they declared bankruptcy.
Whoa.
And they weren't able to balance that debt service with revenue. So that's why the bankruptcy happened in the first place. And so in general, you see a lot of these things coming in together. Now, we have to look at other companies and how they're going to be solving their bankruptcy things. So the Toys R Us declares bankruptcy, and they have a very aggressive strategy to come back from that. So things like augmented reality, expanding internet sales, doing shuttering some stores but not all of them, tightening up budget, like physical budget where they could,
right,
while expanding internet and other options. So really trying to be technologically advanced. And so Toys R Us attempted that approach, but because of the lack of the holiday season, because they declared bankruptcy right before the holiday season, confidence was shot, so that ends their thing. So some companies who are going to be going through the bankruptcy system, like we've seen car companies go through it after 2008, airlines go bankrupt all the time, but they're able to come back from that. Mm-hmm. And part of that is like consumers are so limited on like airplanes that they're willing to go back, or car companies, they're willing to go buy those cars because the car dealerships basically adjust to that thing. And when people hear that, a company's going bankrupt, they think they can get cheaper prices on solid goods like cars. But toys are a different commodity, especially when you're going for a gift card. Like you don't get a gift card for a car.
Yeah, no, that would
for
be
the most
weird.
part. So I think that Toys R Us is kind of unique because the products they're selling are equivalent across the board. Like you can get a toy on Amazon or Walmart, or physically going into like a Target store or a Walmart, or shopping online.
And they sell video games too. So
exactly. So I was wondering if I could pop in and see if I could get a Switch for cheap.
You should try to do that. I doubt it. They're either gone or you should do it. If there's one by you should try.
I think there was or is one in Syracuse, so
okay.
I could try at the very least. In any case, I think that Toys R Us is a very unique case, but we're looking at a lot of massive retailers that are dealing more with clothing other than like Radio Shack. Mm-hmm. So like you see Rue 21, Aeropostale, Abercrombie and Fitch, Macy's even. There are these big stores. Sears, which is a department store, does sell clothing and other things. A lot of these major clothing retailers are losing a lot of business. I think clothing is kind of a different thing. What do you think that people's approach to buying clothes is the same kind of approach to buying toys?
I think or does that matter? It's shifting a little bit to online purchases in terms of clothing. So you could, I mean, you can buy bags online easily. You don't really, I mean, aside from how it feels when you're holding it or on your back, you don't, like, I just bought an Amazon bag because my bag actually literally broke. I have a backpack I've had for, I don't know, since we've been in college, and the strap just literally just is not attached to the bag anymore. So I'm like, all right, I'll just get, and so I saw a cheap one on Amazon, and I'm part of the problem, I guess. But I mean, these are large companies. Should I really, it's not like I have to have any brand loyalty to a large company. I should just go where it's cheapest. And that's actually that's the capitalist way, right? I think
that's a solid point that I hadn't thought about. Like, there's no brand loyalty when you're dealing with mega conglomerates.
Yeah, who cares about ToysRus, right? I mean, I sort of have some nostalgic feeling towards them, but I certainly don't care right now that they are bankrupt and they're closing down, because I can buy everything that I would have bought from them, which would probably just be video games. I can literally just download the video game now. So why do they exist? I don't know. And I guess they don't exist anymore.
When you have the little bambino, that's when you need it.
But I mean, so I don't think things, especially women's clothing, I don't need, like, sound sexist, but obviously women's clothing is very difficult to buy in terms of fitting every curve, right? It's very difficult, and so I think retail clothing stores will still exist, if only for women. If not, men of course care about their clothing and how it feels.
I try it all on.
No, I'll try
maybe
it
I'm
on.
The weird one,
but I also I really don't like to. I know it makes sense to. And when you really do buy clothing that fits you well and makes you feel good, it's like a really good experience. So if they can make that experience easier online, I guess there are these companies, right? There are these companies that are trying to get in on that. These loot box subscription companies that are trying to sell, like, just be your wardrobe for you. I don't know if you've heard. I don't know if you listen to podcasts all the time, so I assume some of them are sponsored by them. Sponsor us. But, you know, like, I forget the name. I guess MeUndies, right? That's the one I can think of. They sell you underwear, and they just keep sending it to you. And so now I never have to buy, I don't actually have a subscription to them, but now I never have to buy, hypothetically, I never have to buy underwear ever again from, I don't know, Uniqlo. That's where I would go. But so I can see
there's
maybe
like
certain
Trunk Club,
things.
Men's Monthly Clothing
Club. Trunk clubs, right.
Stitch Fix.
As we move towards a world where everything is just sent to us in sort of a dystopian way, and we never have to go outside ever again, I think I can see it sort of being culled off, as you were saying, I guess, and we're sort of just tightening. Right now we have a lot of different companies that sell the same thing, and I can see it tightening up a little bit in terms of the retail clothing business, but as we've seen, American Apparel is no longer a company, but I don't see. I personally, it's not like I'm a fashionista or anything, but I don't see that sort of experience going away anytime soon, anyways. But what I sort of, again, as I was saying, we don't have to have. We're the consumer here, right? So we don't have to have any. Excuse me. Let me close my door. But we don't have to have any sort of brand loyalty to these companies like ToysRus or American Apparel, other than, I guess, maybe clothing, maybe, because they make clothing that you like, right? But in terms of when you're selling the same product that someone else is selling, I'm just going to go to where it's cheapest. So I don't necessarily see, it's just the capitalist way. Like, it's the theory of capitalism, or at least in my mind. The person that's going to sell the product for the lowest price that has the same quality and they're still making money is going to be the company that wins out. It's just how it is, I think.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And it's interesting now that we have like these subscription boxes, and I'm scrolling through these things. So like, yes, we'll get the shrinking of clothing stores, right? We'll get it down to X amount that will be able to survive, and you'll pick the cheapest, best quality of those clothing stores. Or you'll have your internet subscription box, and it's interesting to see like the point of a subscription box is to get you hooked on the IV, right?
Yeah.
So you're in the system, your card automatically
set
renews,
it and forget it.
And you get this box every month, and you...
I was part of that. I got that stupid I don't know why they advertised it as the man subscription box. Clearly, any of the things in that box could be used if you're a woman or whatever you are. But it was interesting in that you could see what was going to be in the box the next week, and you could opt out of the box. But it got to be an annoying thing. Like, they would only tell me a day before they shipped it, and so I wouldn't be able to cancel it, and so I ended up paying for the box. So I canceled that, and I really hate... I personally dislike the subscription model. I really hate being nagged for money every month or every yearly quarter and whatever. I pay for PS Plus, and I guess I just got an Xbox Live. I'm gonna stop that, but no, I only got 3 months just so I could play with a certain someone who may or may not listen to this podcast, play Fortnite, but he doesn't play Fortnite with me. But yeah, so yeah, I hate the nagging that you sort of set and forget it, and it adds up, right?
But it's so interesting, right?
It's
like,
so
we're
easy,
so
though.
willing to get hooked onto the IV of the subscription box just because it's something that will ship to us, and we literally don't have to worry about it. And then we don't worry about it so much that we end up paying way more than the time it would take to go to like 2-3 stores, or just the mall, which has a collection of every store that you're probably going to need. And get those things. It's an interesting dynamic of how our society, like our society, has shifted in terms of what the priorities are. Now, I'm not saying the subscription box is for everyone. Of course, if we're looking at...
We'll never get a sponsorship now. God damn it. What do we say? What are we saying?
But I'm saying that, like, if we look at like class like demographics or other demographics that tell, like, there's possibility that like people who don't earn enough money or don't have a credit card or different things, obviously they can't get onto a subscription box, so they have to go to physical stores and different things, which means that physical stores will have a place in society. But as physical stores shrink and they remove themselves out of different neighborhoods, like, what are the stores that are going to stay in all those neighborhoods? Like, we look at what happened to grocery stores, right? Grocery stores retreated out of a lot of lower income neighborhoods, leaving food deserts. Walmart. This is something that Michelle Obama really was trying to work on, like fixing the problem of food deserts, getting grocery stores to stay open in low income neighborhoods despite like not getting the most amount of money or the major profit, because, you know, all people deserve the option of buying fresh food. Yeah, right? Not buying food from a bodega that is salt-ridden, not fresh, all those like processed canned goods, right? So we need the ability.
Canned goods, Goya is good. I love Goya.
I do love Goya. I have some beans and stuff, some salsa. But I'm wondering, like, with the shift away from physical stores, is that retreat also going to disproportionately affect different neighborhoods and peoples? And so subscription plans ease the minds of middle-class people, upper-class people, because they can get these things given to them. The elite people have buyers that will just buy them things, so they've had subscription plans for years, basically.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see, like, we'll see a different class, different classes will interact with stores in different ways, and it's interesting to see how the push from middle and upper classes away from buying things in physical retail stores is really affecting everyone as a whole.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, as you were saying about grocery stores, I mean, they already have a very small profit margin as it is, right? I think they buy for X amount of lettuce for, I don't know, cents on the dollar, but they sell it for pretty cheap to begin with. So they're not making, and then they have to pay all their employees and such.
And
so
there's a lot of products that go to waste.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've ever been outside of, if the grocery store is a bakery, for instance, that half of what they make is probably wasted in general, because they can sell some things the next day, but they can't sell all of it. A lot of the breads and things will go stale, and so you have to think about these things when you own a grocery store, which we don't. But yeah, so I would assume Walmart has replaced a lot of grocery stores in a lot of places. I noticed when I went down to Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and we stayed down there for 2 weeks, so we needed to go to a grocery store eventually. And we found the Aldi, which was cool. That place still exists, I guess, in terms of grocery stores there. But the other
place, I shop at Aldi's.
Yeah, Aldi's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad place to go, but it's like they had Aldi and they had Walmart. So I mean, and Oak Ridge, Tennessee is a very small place, but we were only there for 2 weeks, so we didn't explore the whole place. But yeah, so it's places like that. And you can't get everything at Aldi. They claim you can get everything at Walmart, but I went to that Walmart and there was some crap produce there. I know, yeah. As I assume Walmart generally has a lot of crap produce. But I mean, not to say that they don't have good things, but it's things like that, right?
Walmart's like store philosophy.
Yeah,
is pushing people to get them things at the cheapest rates possible and sacrificing like safety, security, unions, labor rights, all of that in order to push the product to be as cheap as possible. That's why a company like Levi's, which shifted all of their manufacturing to China in order to get a contract with Walmart was like, you're still not cheap enough. So they couldn't get the contract initially.
That's crazy.
But meanwhile, Levi's had abandoned all of their American manufacturing, and they actually do some really cool things in China with their manufacturing.
Really,
and, like supplying daycare and helping with education costs for Levi employees and different things. It's actually, even though it left America, it is doing some good things for
people in China need jobs too. All right.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
No, I mean, people need jobs everywhere. That's part of the thing, right? We live in a society in which we need to contribute to labor in order to earn money, so people need jobs. These shrinking companies, it's turning everything into an internet company, which requires less physical space, less labor, more high-skilled labor. So we're also seeing a shift in job structure, right? We're not going to be able to, like, if you're... Let's say you were a mom, right? You leave your job and you stay home to take care of your children for a while, and then you want to get back in the labor force. Previously, you could have, if you couldn't get into your previous field, you could take a retail job or something, right? Mm-hmm. These lower skilled jobs that they are available even if you're underemployed. The more of these closings of these stores that we have, the less lower skilled labor that's available, the more difficult it will be for anyone to get back into the labor force, etc. So we're also going to see a trend in how an acceleration of the trend of job, like employment in this country to begin with, that isn't positive for a lot of like a lot of people, because even there's a lot of underemployed people, so people with college degrees or even sometimes advanced degrees that are taking these jobs just because those are the ones available.
Yeah, I'm gonna go work at McDonald's once I graduate, so that's where I'm gonna work. But no, I, I'm kidding. But yeah, and then even speaking of internet companies like Amazon, they just purchased Whole Foods, and they just opened up their employeeless quote unquote grocery store. I don't know if you heard about this. I assume you did. Yeah,
the first automated.
Completely automated. So you go in, you pick. I was telling my mom about this. She had no idea, and she was like, "That's not a good thing." And I mean, yeah. So you go into the store and you have an Amazon app account or whatever. You have to have an Amazon account basically, and you pick up something and you just walk out, and Amazon knows that what you picked up. Based on where you were, and they have pressure sensors on below the food that you pick up, and they have a bunch of cameras to help identify the object, and you just walk out, and it charges you on your account as soon as you leave. So that's an interesting use of technology. I think that's really cool. In a way, I think that's a pretty cool advancement. But of course, as we move on and they start opening up more and more of these places outside of Seattle, we're going to see a lot of places probably shut down. I don't know. We're going to see smaller places shut down that aren't necessarily owned by like such a large company. Like
it's the same way that Walmart was shutting a lot of places down. So.
And also on top of that, we're going to have fewer and fewer jobs because I assume to run this, I mean, maybe currently this one doesn't runs with maybe the same amount of people, this one store in Seattle. But I think as they start making it more and more efficient, they're going to start seeing fewer and fewer people that actually work at this store. So that's
it's the same way that Amazon warehouses, you literally can't have humans on the floor because
it's dangerous for them.
It's too dangerous for them.
Yeah. If you go Google it on YouTube, another company, and you'll see there's actually it's a cool video. I think it's cool how they automated it, but again, it's not good for creating jobs in our economy. So I guess that's the bottom line. We don't necessarily have any loyalty to these companies, and by no means should we, but there still needs to be these companies for people to have jobs, right?
But the alternative, right, is also that we have these mega conglomerates that have soaked up so much of the things. So Walmart has soaked up a lot of the physical store space.
Yeah.
And Amazon soaked up a lot of the physical store space into the internet. But now Amazon is going back and creating physical stores.
Right.
So
fair enough. At least they are.
It's like these super monopolies that aren't technically monopolies, but they're like, it's just like the idea that there are 7 conglomerate corporations that run everything, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's so ridiculous how much of our economy and our companies that we shop at every day are owned by like 1 or 2 companies.
Yeah,
like
and
Aldi's, for instance, I don't know if you knew this, but Aldi's is owned by the same company that owns Trader Joe's.
Yeah, I knew that for sure.
So then you basically got Trader Joe's and Walmart in Oak Ridge as your 2 things.
Exactly.
Amazon has reported that their physical stores had $1.27 billion in sales.
Wow. Last year?
For the third quarter of 2017.
Jesus, that's crazy. I've never even seen an Amazon store.
I saw an Amazon Books in New York, but they're also with the Whole Foods thing, you know.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I've seen the Whole Foods. Well, do you have any closing comments? Where do you think this is going? Do you actually see? We sort of talked about it with clothes. Do you actually see a future within our lifetimes where there's just only one company pretty much that sells you everything? Or do you think
I think it'll be a few. I think we'll
few.
shrink down to like 4 or 5 companies because they'll control Congress. So
yeah,
it'll be fun.
Right. Oh yeah, and then there's the political aspects of this.
Yeah,
which
because
we haven't talked about too much, but
because in America, money is voice.
Yeah, it's true. I definitely. I mean, we're already seeing it literally, right? We're seeing these companies close down. I don't see why, CVS is next. I guess that's just one company I could think of. But because there are plenty of, what are they called? What type of store is CVS? Sorry, pharmacies. I mean, Costco has a pharmacy. You can just get everything at CVS, but at Costco. So, I totally. It's just the way at which these businesses are set up. They have a lot of power, and they're going to gain the consumer's goodwill in that they sell the same product at a lower price, and that's just the way it is. So it's the economy, and there's not much we can do about it. So you can go. You always hear you should support your local businesses, but when you're financially like you have no money, you have to go buy the cheapest option, and that's going to be probably Walmart.
Or if you're in a location in which there aren't local businesses,
that's true.
Then you're forced to buy whatever it is there.
Yeah, I'm
like
lucky.
You're buying the
in New York
cheapest
City.
food, which is McDonald's, and you can't get fresh food or whatever.
So maybe I guess the smaller businesses will only survive in cities and things like that, as opposed to small towns in the middle of America. So unfortunately, that's where we're moving.
Yeah.
But we've been moving there for a while, so it's not like
and
too much of a
I
surprise.
think that with the addition, so if things like augmented reality or virtual reality can push things, right, then we have virtual stores that you can walk through, pick things up and really feel what they are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a crazy far off thing in the future, but it's not unimaginable at this point. I mean, we saw ToysRus, part of their thing was to develop augmented reality. One of the most fun things that I know some people who have explored VR or AR have done is like IKEA. So you can walk through an IKEA and physically see it's an AR
That's really cool
experience. So you can go through an IKEA catalog, pick out a piece of furniture, and then using the AR, place it in your physical space that you're in see what it would look like in your room.
That's amazing. And that's a Swedish company.
Yeah, I'm going to buy a bed, and then I want to see what it looks like in my room. I put my AR-enabled device, my phone or whatever, check it out and see, okay, this is going to fit in my physical space this way.
Can you place it there and then walk around it?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
That's really cool. That's
and if they haven't done it like that yet, it will be the next the next thing that they're doing.
That's really cool.
I'm just afraid that we're not balancing out how the economy grows. Yes, capitalism is all about the most efficient thing is the thing that wins technically. Although we don't live in a true capitalist society because we have government intervention that can impede or regulate.
Right. There's regulation on monopolies and things like that. In our businesses, which is good. That's a good thing. Yes. But I fear there's not nearly enough for anyone trying to start a company or off the ground right now. But I think
especially with the internet rules changing, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, that being said, if you're taking advice from us, if you're starting a company, definitely get online as fast as possible. Make sure you have a store online
and a subscription
that works efficiently. What?
And a subscription.
Yes.
If you're going to start a business now, do just Bitcoin and subscription. Boom. We're a blockchain Bitcoin. We're a blockchain subscription service.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Nothing. We're just a blockchain subscription service.
Just please subscribe now. One thing you can subscribe to is our channel, however. So you should go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave a like on this video. We talk about everything and anything that interests us. It's usually everything from video games to politics, as I try to sell it. in our podcast. So if you think this podcast is interesting, maybe go write an iTunes review. It really helps with our visibility.
And you know what's our blockchain?
What?
It's our ending segment.
This is the key segment for the listener or viewer. It's called Hungover Radio. We end this podcast every single week in a song in a segment called Hungover Radio, where you, the viewer or listener, can send in your music, whether you wrote, produced, sang a song, played an instrument on, or maybe your friend wants some free advertisement. Go ahead and send it in to gaminghungover@gmail.com. And I will put it in the end of the audio portion of the podcast and, of course, link it out in the description of the video portion of the podcast. You can support Syracuse University by donating to... No, I'm kidding. But you can also... that would be really great if you sent us a song. But, of course, we don't... Having 36 subscribers, Ivan, we're still trying to get the 37. But, I digress. If no one sends in a song, I get to pick one. And today...
What'd you pick this week, Julien?
I picked a video game song, so we don't get copyrights. And because I've been playing a lot of Kirby, I picked Green Greens from Kirby Dream Land. I believe that was the first Kirby game out on the Game Boy. I hope you guys enjoy the song. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Ask us any questions. We'll answer them in the comment section below. And, of course, on the next podcast as well. And keep the conversation going down there, too. I'd like to hear your opinions on ToysRus closing and other companies closing as such.
The future of retail. Thank you so much. Let's go, Q's. Beat Duke, because everybody wants us to beat Duke. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.